is Vicinity 95.3 FM, Ekejile, Ijesha. The time is 12 o'clock. I am Oluwafunke Israel with Global News. First, deadlines. Federal government set to review 70,000 naira minimum wage. And South Africa vows firm response against anti-migrant violence. Venezuela earthquakes death toll hit 235. Now the news in full. The federal government says it will review Nigeria's national minimum wage, noting that the current 70,000 naira benchmark no longer reflects the country's economic realities. Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, made the announcement at the Good Governance Summit in Abuja. He said the Tinubu administration recognizes the rising cost of living and believes workers deserve wages that keep pace with the economy. The 70,000 naira minimum wage was signed into law by President Tinubu in July 2024, replacing the previous 30,000 naira minimum wage and reducing the review period from 5 years to 3. But Abiamila also called on organized labor to maintain dialogue with government, saying cooperation would produce better outcomes for workers and the economy. Meanwhile, the Minister of Labor and Employment, Mohammed Jinyadi, said the success of government policies should be measured by their impact on workers' welfare, productivity, social protection, and economic opportunities. The Inspector General of Police has ordered an immediate end to political violence and killings in Osun State. The Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of the Southwest, Adegoke Fayoade, conveyed the directive to Governor Ademola Adeleke after a closed-door meeting at the Government House in Osogbo. Fayoade said the IGP has directed the Assistant Inspector General of Police and the Osun State Commissioner of Police to ensure there is no repeat of violence, stressing that criminal activities must not disrupt peace, economic activities, or the upcoming election process. He added that the police have been deployed to investigate the recent incidents and restore public confidence in the state's security. In his response, Governor Adeleke welcomed the directive, however insisted that lasting peace must include the arrest and prosecution of those responsible for the killings and attacks across the state. Away from Nigeria, health authorities in the Democratic Republic of the Congo say confirmed Ebola cases have risen to 1,155 as of Thursday, according to government figures. Officials report that strengthened epidemiological surveillance is helping detect infections earlier, however warned that community transmission has expanded and many cases may still be undetected. They also say the outbreak peak has not yet been reached. More than 35,000 people are believed to have been in contact with infected individuals as of last week. At least 300 people have died, while about 100 have recovered. The outbreak concentrated in Ituri province is caused by the rare Bodiboyo virus strain, which currently has no approved vaccine or treatment. The World Health Organization, WHO, says experimental treatment are expected to begin next week as response efforts continue. South Africa President Cyril Ramaphosa has vowed to crack down on any attempt to destabilize South Africa ahead of planned anti-migrant marches scheduled for June 30. Citizen-led groups have set that date as a deadline for undocumented foreigners to leave the country, with nationwide protests against illegal immigration expected. Some of these demonstrations have previously turned violent amid rising xenophobic tensions. Authorities say security forces are on high alert, with police confirming tightened nationwide deployments to maintain order. Government officials have also stepped up engagement efforts, including talks with the influential Zulu Royal House in a bid to calm tensions. The anti-migrant campaign has already led to voluntary returns of thousands of foreign nationals from countries in Nigeria, Mozambique, Malawi, and Ghana. You are listening to Vicinity 95.3 FM, transmitting live from Ikejile, Ijesha. Global News will continue shortly.
Music, sports, entertainment, politics, all on your darling station, Vicinity 95.3 FM, Ikejile, Ijesha.
Thanks for staying tuned. For breaking news, you can provide us information via email at vicinitynewsroom@gmail.com or call 070-6108-3107. Now the rest of the news. The United Nations International Maritime Organization has paused a planned evacuation of more than 11,000 sailors stranded in the Strait of Hormuz following an attack on a cargo vessel in the busy waterway. IMO Director Arsenio Dominguez says some evacuations have taken place, but the operation has been altered to ensure necessary safety guarantees remain in place. The UK Maritime Trade Organization reports a ship was struck about 7.5 nautical miles southeast of Oman's port of Dahit by unknown projectile. No casualties were reported. However, US officials claim Iran fired on the vessel. The evacuation effort had only been announced on Tuesday following the reopening of the strait and was said to involve cooperation between Iran, Oman, and the United States and other regional stakeholders. At least 235 people have been killed and more than 4,300 injured after two powerful earthquakes struck northern Venezuela on Wednesday, June 24th. The quakes measuring 7.2 and 7.5 magnitude caused widespread destruction, collapsing buildings, and trapping many people beneath the rubble. Rescue teams continue searching for survivors as strong aftershocks hamper operations. Health officials say hospitals are treating large numbers of injured victims and children rescued from collapsed buildings. Emergency workers have also reported shortages of trained personnel and rescue equipment. Interim President Delcy Rodriguez has visited the hit area of Legara, now declared a disaster zone. Meanwhile, international assistance is arriving, with Switzerland, Spain, France, Portugal, and Mexico sending rescue teams and specialists to support relief efforts. A bit of sports. President Daniel Noboa has declared Friday a national public holiday after Ecuador scored Germany 2-1 to reach the knockout stage of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Germany struck early through Leroy Sane at the second minute. However, Nilson Angulo equalized just 7 minutes later. Gonzalo Plata then scored the winner in the 77th minute to seal Ecuador's historic victory. The win sent Ecuador into the last 16 for only the second time in the nation's World Cup history, matching their 2006 achievement. President Noboa congratulated the players and coaching staff, praising their resilience after a difficult start to the tournament. To end global news, a recap of the major stories. The federal government says it will review Nigeria's national minimum wage, noting that the current 70,000 naira benchmark no longer reflects the country's economic realities. We told you that South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has vowed to crack down on any attempt to destabilize South Africa ahead of planned anti-immigrant marches scheduled for June 20. And lastly, you heard at least 235 people have been killed and more than 4,300 injured after two powerful earthquakes struck North Venezuela on Wednesday night. That was Global News. It was edited by Mujibo Lakunle. I am Oluwafunke Israel. Thanks for listening. Please stay tuned for news nationwide at 6 o'clock. Good afternoon.